Okay, so let's get started. So we'll today we'll go through QTP. Okay, that's an automation. So we talked a lot about regression testing, right? Remember in first class, first and second class, we talked about this regression testing. Okay, so this is what we will be going to do. Like actually, this is a different team. You will not, as a QA, if you join as a QA, you may not always use automation tool. But yes, as a QA, they will be expecting you to do this job too, right? I mean, it's not necessary. No, I'm QA. I don't know QTP. It doesn't work that way. They will be also expecting to do some automation work. Okay, so this automation is actually a tool. It's a tool. Okay, it's not something manually. You are only doing clicking buttons. Only that. So far you were only doing that, right? Just looking to the website, finding issues, and that's it. But here you want to make sure tool is giving you, tool is showing up the bugs. Okay? Now, there are many tools here. Okay, so an automation tool, there are many tools, not just QTP, there's the Selenium. Selenium, what? Selenium, I'll give you some uh, material today, and you also can download it. I would recommend, to download the Selenium and just have a look. I don't have much time on it either to show you the Selenium too. It's, that's it's it only most of the time it works for Firefox browser. Okay, and just need to put this ad in here. You see this, and you get this, and it's like once you understand this QTP, it's a similar tool. Okay, and it's free. It's free because it's open source, and it's pretty good. So I would recommend you, once we finish this class of QTP, you can go ahead with working on Selenium, not QTP, because the reason why I say because if you know something, you need to get to know something else. You cannot do something what I told you again and again, same thing, right? It's not. You need to try a different tool. Okay. So we'll go through this. So this is an automation tool. This is used for regression. So it will be a regression team, totally different. But some cases you are expected to, as a QA, you are expected to do even automation. Okay. So if you say, no, I only know QA, I don't know QTP, I don't know Selenium. Now, who is the one who is getting into trouble is you, because you are not getting the job because of that. You need to be more professionalism in answering the questions here. QTP, yeah, I worked that before, and I'm pretty confident that I can work with this tool too. The way of representation is very important. If you cannot represent yourself, even though you can do it better than anyone else in the world, it doesn't matter. Nobody sees that, right? Do you know that? No, even if you know better than anyone in the whole world, doesn't matter. Nobody cares about it. The way you represent yourself is very important. Okay, so how you represent is very important. So that's the reason, right? You need to know little information on this QTP. So now there is no QTP. Actually, there's UFT, Unified Functional Testing. So but the modules, the features actually remains same. I mean, it's same, but this is a different place. But we'll go a little bit here in detail here. Okay? So after completing this, make sure you work on Selenium, or yeah, you can also do QTP. Doesn't have to be anything, but and this software is also there, QTP. In that Google Drive, you go ahead and look into Google Drive. You can download too. Okay, so that's what's our syllabus, right? Let's go pretty quick to see our syllabus. We are going as per syllabus, right? So Yeah. So today, yeah. So actually, somebody wrote homework. Okay, good. No, only one. Um, so just let's see here. Okay. Somebody have completed the certification. It's good. Okay. Um, that's what I was looking at. People didn't complete any certification. It's up to you. I mean, it's not like you have to do it, but it's good for you because you are getting this, not me, right? So it's up to you if you really want it. You need to spend some time. Okay, it's just time, not Um, of course, you need to pay your internet bill, but then you just need to put some effort, and you can get this up here. Okay, so let's get back to here. So here QTP. So this has a process. Okay, we'll go step by step process. What you do one after the other. So what you do in first, process is you record. Okay, you record for anything you record, right? I mean, the reason you have this recording, right? Because once that's what the QTP does. It mimics. First, it records and mimics the same process what you're trying to do. Okay, that's the reason you need to record. Because QTP don't know. QTP only mimics. Okay, so only if you record, let's say you're recording, let's say this is an application and you are recording whole thing, what is going on here, like what the value you are entering, clicking the buttons, and moving the page from one page to another. All this is it's called recording. Once you record that, it's called recording. Okay, then you enhance a test. So you know what we need enhancing. Most of the cases we need to enhance it. The reason you need this because you will record once and play many, right? That means you will be recording only for one customer. Let's say it's one customer, but there are millions of customers. Okay, let's say there's a data we'll be running sets of data. Like let's say million records, right? Million records. Let's say 30 hours of time the QTP script has to run. Okay, this is a lot of time, a lot of work. So you will be recording only once. And what you will be playing many times, but just removing this information here. Okay, just removing this, and there's something called parameterization. Okay, you'll be using that, and um, so we'll see that later. So that's how you can enhance your test script. So here you call a script. Okay, now if you have any bugs, I mean, it's not bug, like if you're running some scripts, you're running some script and you find some issue, it's called debugging. You can debug it. Okay, remove some of the parts which is not required, we add some features. Okay, so that's called debugging. And then again running back to, you need to run it again to analyze the results. Now once you debug it and you think that the test case is good, the script is good, now you need to run it and see what the result is. Then you want to analyze the result, what the result is, and what it should be. Okay, and report the defects. Now you're not supposed to get too many defects here. If you get many defects in this automation process, then the QA guy is getting hold of. Okay, so who is getting caught is QA guy, because the first question from your manager or from your boss will be, why this issue has been detected in automation, why not in QA? That's a valid question, right? First question by your boss will be, why these bugs, why these defects are showing up in regression testing, why not in functional testing? Does it make sense? Okay, so that's a thing you need to answer. So be careful on that one. So you're not supposed to get too many defects here. Okay, here you need to be very minimal, and you need to check it out again. If you get defects, you need to make sure it's quickly solved. Okay, because the more the more defects you get in the later level, the more expensive the project becomes. And if the project becomes expensive, now that will be a question for management, right? Why? Because they're spending too much money. There's too much money on hiring you, too much money on softwares, too much money on a lot of things. So they don't want all these issues at the end. So if they find issues at the end, then things should be a lot of, they will change the process how how they're working. Okay, so all these things. So defects should not be, more defects should not appear here in this stage. Okay, even if you appear, you need to make sure it is resolved quickly as soon as possible before anyone notice it. Okay, you need to check the developer and talk to them and really finish this quickly. So this is how the testing process, right? Recording, enhancing the test, debugging, and running the test and analyzing the results and reporting defects if any. Okay. Any questions so far here? This is the process. This is the process you can follow. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. If no one have questions. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I'm like, from, we are like 2 weeks, right? It's almost 2 weeks, and I find only few people, maybe 3 or 4 people in, like, I think 10 people are proactive in the class. Okay, they are only proactive. You need to remember that you have to be proactive. Okay, if you are not proactive, because communication is what important when you go into the job. If you have no communication, you know, also make sure whom you are communicating, what you are communicating. Okay, so communication is very important. If you are not proactive, you don't communicate properly. Um, you know what? You are into trouble, not me. So make sure you have to be more proactive. Okay, you just don't have to be here. You don't have to be in the class, but that's what I'm doing because I've seen only a few people, like 3 to 4 people. I mean, are proactive. Okay, so make sure everyone has to be proactive when you go to the project. Okay, so let's go here next. Add-in manager. Okay. Now, why do we need this? Okay, so this is the reason, because um, so you need this because, see, the QTP recognizes few of this. QTP doesn't understand everything. Okay, only it has some basic functionalities like HTML. Okay, only those it can recognize, but it cannot recognize everything. Let's say you have video player there. Okay, there's a video player. It's a complex website. Now you need to test a video recording in that, and that's really complex part. Now QTP doesn't understand that, so that's the reason you need all these add-ins here. Okay, that's an example, not just video player. You need there's a JavaScript, there's Ajax, there's ActiveX player here. Okay, a lot of things there in a website, right? QTP doesn't understand everything. Okay, it doesn't know. So that's the reason there is a separate add-in. That means a third-party plugin, or whoever works on it and puts an add-in, so that QTP also started to recognize that, and you can also work on that. So that's the add-ins. That's why you require add-ins in QTP. Now there are various add-ins. This is like ActiveX, Visual Basic, Web. Okay, other add-ins you also have. You can always add this to your, and you can, once you add this, that means you can able to recognize a lot of objects, based on different scripts, different languages. You can able to recognize it. Okay, so let's move to the next one. And this is the recording mode. Okay, so here you can record There are three different recording modes, okay, the recording and as well as running modes. So in the recording, right, you can have three, that is normal recording, analog recording, and low level recording. So what happens in the normal recording? Normal recording is like left clicks of mouse buttons. Let's say if you are clicking this button, clicking this check, checkbox this, these are normal recording. Okay, this is something called analog recording. Analog recording is okay, something like just like tab option. If you have tab, that it's moving into the next field, right? If you want to record all this too, you want to do this analog recording, and then you have one more like low level recording. Low level recording is like you're with this like different, it's special. Let's say right click mouse button. So let's say if you want to right click here. So the options here shows different, right? Let's say if I want to right click on my desktop, the options are different, and what I'm trying to right click here, the options are different. So there might be some features that additional features that require some options to right click. So those kind of things, right? You can do it in low level recording. Low level and analog recording, you can do all those things. Okay, so that's the that's the recording modes you have. Then you have run modes. You can either run it normal or fast. Okay, so let's go to this pretty quick. Let's see here the functionalities of various. Okay, so here we'll see here. Just okay. Now this is a screen, so now this is no more the screen, but these functionalities remain same. Okay, they might be in different places, or they have a little bit enhanced this functionalities, but this will be there in UFT too. So there's a UFT, Unified Functional Testing. This is updated version of QTP. Okay, so here let's see. Now we'll talk one after the other in this. Okay, so there is something called, this is called title bar. Okay, this is title bar. Okay, and it contains the title of the what QTP are running contains that, that's called title. And menu bar. Okay, this is the menu bar which contains file, edit, views. So that's called menu bar. Okay, and then you have, this is file toolbar. So this is normally shortcuts. This will be here, even though it will be here, but it also will be there in the menu bar. Okay, that's called file toolbar. Then you have this debug toolbar. Okay, this is also kind of shortcut. Then you have testing toolbar. Okay, so all these options, recording options, playback options, all this will be here. Now that's called testing toolbar. Okay, now this is action toolbar. Okay, and this action, we'll talk about this action. So action is in layman language, we can say as worksheet. Okay, worksheet. You need to, the script is generated. Script is generated where it has to generate somewhere, right? Notepad, WordPad, Microsoft Word, something else, that's called worksheet. So that is action. I mean, I'm just saying to understand in layman language, but really it's more complex than that. But for ease of understanding, I'm saying as a worksheet. Okay, action is something, worksheet, where your code is there, where you can do a lot of things with the worksheet. Okay, so that's called action. So this is action toolbar, and this is test pane. Okay, this is called test pane. Okay, this is where this is keyword view actually. So there's two views, keyword view, and there's one more expert view. In the expert view, there's all code. There will be all code there, and you can view this, and you can see the code here. Let's go to the test pane. Here you have this item. So items, these are normally the objects. Okay, these are the objects what you have, and what are you performing with that object is called operation. Okay, once you have that, you have this value. That means after performing that, what's the value of that object? Or the value of the property normally is called here, and this is the documentation means it has some information what it's trying to do. Okay, so that is, and then you have this data table. The data table is kind of Excel sheet. I mean, not really. It's Excel sheet for QTP. This is integrated for QTP itself. So they made it for QTP, not for anything else. Okay, so don't expect to write everything here. This is only for QTP purpose. Okay, so that's called data table. And this is active screen. Let's say if you're running some test and this shows up here. Okay, and so this is all the screenshots. You can see it here. Okay, that's called active screen. So, and this is status bar. Okay, so there is no more status bar here, but still have this status bar. Okay, any questions in this? So let's go one by one. Each icon, let's discuss on this each icon. This is a new, let's say you want to open a new worksheet. This is a new, and then if you want to open an existing worksheet, you have this. To open it, and then you have this, icon of floppy disk. Let's start save. You can save it, and if you want to take print out, you can do that with this icon. And let's say we go here. Okay, we'll go to here. This is called quality center connection. Okay, or you can use HPLM. Okay, and so why do we really require this? So this is, let's say you're working in team, right? You're always working in team. You're not alone. Okay. Now somebody prepares, and there's also QA developer. Okay, there's a QA developer which develops all the scripts for you, and you need to test, right? So they'll develop the scripts, and the script has to get stored somewhere, right? Where do you get stored? This is not an online tool. Now that's a good thing that we have test management tool. We can store in that. That's a good point. So that's the reason you need this. This is quality center connection. So whatever scripts, test cases, all you can store in that. By clicking on this, you can pull out the scripts and put it here and run the test. It's that simple. So you don't have to do something all by yourself. Someone will be doing that. You will pulling out the scripts and putting it here and executing it. Okay. So that's quality center connection. Now in this box, in a small box, that's called object repository. Okay. Now before going to that, let's see, before understanding object repository. So everybody knows, right? What is repository? Repository is like kind of database, right? It's like a place for storage. Okay, that's called repository. Now, what is object repository, and why we really need that? Okay, so let's understand a little bit in detail about how this QTP works. Okay, because that's the part of this object repository. Now, QTP understands any application. So this is an application. Okay, QTP only understands what there is an object. Now, can anyone tell me like what is an object? Can anyone tell me what exactly is an object? I mean, not a physical object. Object in software. Okay, not a physical object which you. What is an object in a software terminology? Okay, good examples. Clickable buttons, that's good. A table is an object, okay. Picture is an object. So, yeah, that's fine. You're good. Those are examples. Okay, those are examples. But I was more looking into definition point of view. That's correct. I mean, those are objects. I'm not saying that those are not objects. I mean, that's true. But how would you define an object in a software terminology? Object can be function, method, okay. Anyone else? Okay, so here, okay, somebody has tried this good. So object is something which contains both properties and values. Okay, object is which contains both properties and values. Now let's be more specific on this. What is a property? Now property can be anything. It can be height, length, breadth, width, weight, mass, etc. Okay, that's a property. What is the value? The value of the property, the value is, whatever you define that property, right? Let's say height. What is the height? 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter. Length. What's the length? 2 centimeter. So that's called value. Value is in numbers normally, and property is in this physical quantity. Okay. So let's see here how we can define an object here. Let's say, now, as I told you, the QTP only identifies, and let's say this is a web application. If you want to recognize by QTP, it only identifies through object. Now we know now what is an object. Object is which contains both properties and its values. Let's take an example here, buttons. Let's say here there are 3 buttons here. I will consider as enter GM online. Now to identify this object by QTP, now QTP has to know with this. No, I know I am clicking this button, but how does QTP know that that button has to be get clicked? Okay, but no. So to know it, it has property. What's the property? It has the, you see this length. This is the length. Now this is not a 3D button. It's a only 2D button. So it has height, but doesn't have breadth, right? So it has height and its length. Okay. No, that's good. It has high length like 2 centimeters, and height is 0.5 centimeters. That's fine. But the problem here is all the 3 buttons have same properties and values. Now to identify this, it needs a unique property and value. Okay, it should be unique. Okay, it is unique value, right? But all the 3 values are different. The only unique here is, the title of an object. Let's see here. What is the title of an object? Enter GMO online. So now there is no Enter GMO online name anywhere here. See this in the button? Only this button. So that's how QTP identifies and clicks on that. Okay. Now, when you're doing the coding too, when you start coding, these are all very important. Right now, okay, but when you start coding it, this is all important, because you will be all, when you try to code yourself, you need to put all this information in the code. Okay, what is the property and what is the value for this? Okay. So that's about property and value. Now all this information is actually stored here. This is what object repository is all about. Okay. So what I said, you right. If you click that button whenever you're recording, let's say you're recording in QTP. Now you're clicking this button. That means this object and its property values all are stored in this object repository. That's why we need that. Okay. And the next. You have this a man with a hat guy, so that's called object spy. Now, okay, I told you few properties, but this is not few properties. There are tens of 20s of property. You know what? We can also check here, right here. Let's see here. This is not an appropriate way to do it. So really don't do this, but I'm just trying to explain you that even if you're coding something, you're still putting these properties and values here. Okay, let's figure it out. So it's here. Let's say I'm working on this button. So I'm looking to this button. Here is this. This is the table. Great. And let's see. Okay, great. Now I found this. You know what? So this is what the name. This is a property name, and the value is bsubmit. Oh, here you go. The value is enter game online. That's a title. Okay, that's a title. What's the language? Okay, this is JavaScript. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay, so even if you're coding here, you're still putting the property and values in the code itself. Okay, okay. So let's not worry about that. So that's how you will be doing that. You need to find out always the object, property, and its value. Okay, now what this guy does? Okay, this is man with a hat guy. So that helps you to identify the properties. Let's say you don't know, you know only 3, because I told you length, height, and title. But it's not just 3. There are many other properties and values. It's called HTML tag. Okay, there's an HTML tag. They can have there's no breadth. This is not 3D, but it also has that option too. Okay, because if there's a 3D button, you also need that. Okay, so all those things is included here. So how do you know all this? This guy shows up. So if you click on this and click on this button, it shows up what are its properties and what are its values. Okay. Now remember again, QTP only identifies a unique value of a property of an object. Okay, unique value of a property in an object. Only then QTP can identify. Um, so here you have this option here. Let's go to the next one. If you want, when you're recording, you can stop. So this is stop, and you go to debug here. You can use this debug options. Okay, you can use this. Now in the testing toolbar, go to this option record. Record helps you, of course, the name itself, right? Record. You want to record. So this is not like audio recording or video recording. It's like whatever the application you are trying to navigate, all those it records. Okay, so that's what it means by record. And once you do that, you can run the script. If the script is generated, once you record, automatically for you, the script is automatically generated and it's stored in expert view. You can view the script, and once you view that, you can run the script. Okay. And this is action. Okay, as I told you, you have this action is like worksheet. Now you can split an action. So this is right now it's disabled because only then it's enabled only when you are working in the action. So it's disabled. And you have these two important things here: start transaction time and end transaction time. These two things. The time bar, you see this time. That's called start transaction time and end transaction time. So why do we need this exactly? So if you are moving your web page, let's say you're clicking this button, right? You need to know some information like how much time it is taking to navigate from one page to another page or from one place to another place. You want to know the time, how much microsecond, how much millisecond is taking to navigate, because you want to go to the granularity of an application, right? You want to go to specifics. So in that case, you want to use that to see how much time it is taking to movement from this page to another page, how much time it is taking to click on this and showing up on this page, all those things. So that's the reason you use start transaction time and end transaction time. Okay, and this is for low level recording and analog recording. Okay, and so this is what if you understand this properties and values, right? So this is what it becomes here. It becomes very clear here. These are the objects. These are various objects here, and with that object, what operation are you trying to perform? Is this one? So let's say if it is a button, you're saying click. Okay, if it is a drop down box, then you're saying as select. If it is a radio button, then again it says click. If there's anything else, then you see set. Okay, so, okay, this radio buttons is actually set. Okay, set. It's a click though, but when you're setting it, that means there's a button kind of thing is showing up, right? So that's the reason it's set. Okay, so that's the operation you're trying to perform. And what is the value it's showing up? Okay, the value of that button is called the value, and what is happening is the documentation. Okay, so this is all about in the various functions of the QTP. This gives some brief idea on what are the various features and functionalities you can use in QTP. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so no questions. Okay, let's move to the next one. in QTP, right, you have a lot of things here. But if you are using some other tool like Selenium, now Selenium is open source, so you have this, um, available, so you can try it on yourself by all yourself. And there is no such tool like you know um, like this for Selenium. But the thing, you need to use a different tool to run the script. Okay, so let me, before going to it, let me quickly show you the script for. I don't have QTP script. Let me, quickly show you if we have time. Selenium script and see how we can. I've recorded a script. Let's say I've recorded it. You can assume it in QTP, and I have now to run that script. Let's figure it out very quick here. Let me show you. Now, since I don't have that QTP, right? Let's see. I hope this works. Okay, great. Now you can imagine this as kind of QTP, and this interface is like similar interface. The Eclipse has the similar interface in this. And let's see if you can run that script. Now I already have the script generated. Just like you can say record and playback, because I recorded the script and I have the script ready, and I want to make use of that script. So let's see how that thing works. This takes time. Okay, it might take some time. Let's go here pretty quick here. So let's go to the next topic. I'm going to show up here. So this is too open source. I mean, if you want to download, you can use it, but this requires a lot of add-ins, kind of plugins. You require a lot of plugins because this is not already. Okay, great. Now I have this, right? So this is my script. Now this is not QTP script. Okay, just to make it. This is a Selenium script, so it's a lot of difference. And all this in Java, and QTP is more into Visual, VB scripting. Okay, now let's say I'm ready, right? I'm ready to run the script. I've recorded this. All the script is ready for me. I'm not written anything here. I didn't do any coding here, nothing. As a tester, you also will not be much involved in coding, but this is already done for you. Who does that? Either there will be architect guy who will be working on it, or you regenerate the scripts, however. But now I need to run this. Let's say, run this. Okay, where is this? Oops. Now I will run this. Now I have these two options. This is I'm running through JUnit. JUnit is a completely different thing, but let's run this. Either way. Oops. Okay, I'll run JUnit. Let's see how this thing works. I hope it works. There is one thing like it has working on this driver file, so that's a different story altogether. Okay. Okay, great. Now you see this. Now that script already had the option that you need to pull up this Firefox, and that enter automatically that that URL. You see this? I'm not doing anything. It's the script is running itself. So this is how you see this automatically it does, and it automatically closes. Okay. Does it work? Great. Now next, let's go to this. Okay. And now. Okay, great. Now my script has successfully run. How do you know? You see here test case, and this is supposed to pass. This green color, is passed. Which failed, then it will be failed. There is no really issue on this. and this is the information. Okay, what's happening. So this is what record and playback is, right? You have recorded the script. I recorded already previously. Now I just play back. Playback is kind of running it. Okay, I use a different tool or different thing. That's a different story, but this is how it works. This is to pretty quick to show you actually how do you actually run it. Okay. Okay, so let's go to here. So everyone like understood, right? That's to show you how to run a script. Okay. If you have any questions, you can come back to me later for that one. Okay, if you want to download, and that's fine. We can help you on that. Okay, let's go to here. Go back to our work. Here you have this object repository. So we talk about this object repository. Object repository is to store the property and values, okay, of an object, and this is for QTP. Okay, it's kind of repository for your objects. Okay, and object spy. This is the man with the hat guy. So that's called object spy, and this helps you to identify how many properties and how many values does it each property has. Okay, that's what this object spy does. Okay, and how does quick test recognize this objects? It has three properties. That's mandatory properties, assistive properties, and ordinal identifier. Because of three, it helps to get recognizes. Okay, but most of the time, right? So you can understand this theoretical. What I'm saying is all this theoretical. Most of the times you'll be working with the code. If you're a tester, even if you're automation tester, you'll be working with the code. You see there, you saw right now. I just used that script because it takes a lot of time for me to explain you how did I get the code and how this thing. But as a tester, you will be working on this code. You see this, run the code. It opens a browser for you. It runs all the code and just closes the browser. I didn't do anything. I didn't went to any URL. It's just did for itself. So that's how this automation works. And not only just QTP, not only just Selenium, any automation tool you might use, IBM automation tool, or maybe Microsoft has its own tool, or maybe any other company might have own tool. But this is how they work. Okay, so that's how you can relate to any other automation tool. Okay, so let's go to the next topic, synchronization. So what is this? Why do we require the synchronization? Now let's see here. If let's say now there's an issue. Okay, there's a hardware issue. Hardware issue from server point of view, and this some pop-up. Okay, there's some pop-up, and it's not really software issue. It's an hardware and it's something happening in a server issue, and server application is good and is. Okay, so let's not take that example. Okay, that example is good for something else. Okay, synchronization. Why do we use the synchronization, right? Let's say you're clicking this button. Okay, so it's going to the next page immediately, right? You see this, it's not even taking some microseconds. It's going to the next page. But there's some instances where server is slow, okay, very slow. Now it takes a lot of time. Let's say some 2 seconds, 3 seconds to move from one page. Now QTP don't know if it don't know, right? It has to wait. So it moves to the next page and it thinks, oh, okay, this is not working, so it is failed, and it gets failed. Test case gets failed. So no, we don't want test case to fail on this performance thing. This is a different performance thing, and we are not working on performance. We are working on automation, right? So we don't want to get failed with this performance thing. Okay, so that's the reason you need synchronization. So what you're trying to do here is you will write one line code called wait. That means you're telling QTP to wait, and in brackets you'll be writing some 5. That means wait for 5 seconds. Let's see here. See this? Wait. Now this is the code. Okay, this is a code where you be writing, and after that you put wait. That means you're telling QTP to wait to that page to load, then only you can move forward. You cannot move forward if you cannot. Okay. So that's a okay. We can work. We have some time. We can work on this code pretty quick here. Okay, we'll just go through it. Checkpoint. So let's see. Why do we need this checkpoint? Checkpoints is to check that in an application, it's manual. This is the manual. Okay. Let's say you want to check something like image. You want to check image. You want to check this text. You want to check all buttons and all the things. So that's the reason you use this checkpoint. The name itself, right? Check. That means. And how do you know this gets highlighted? Oops. This gets highlighted. You see this in purple color. We also had this, right? Remember? Let's see here. This purple color, you see this? That's called checkpoint. Actually, that is how that's how it looks like when you do the checkpoint. You see the purple color? Okay. So here there are various checkpoints. There's standard checkpoint. If you don't know anything what checkpoint to use, you can use standard. It applies for all. Image checkpoint. If you are working on image, okay, this is the image, and you want to use image checkpoint. Table checkpoint. Now this is a table, right? Okay. Now you don't see that. It's a different thing, but I'll just show you. Okay, this is actually the table. See this? This is a table. Now that's a different thing. That's invisible. Okay, it's not visible, and but it has some information on the table. See this table border? Now that's called table. Now if you want to do this table checkpoint, you can also do this table checkpoint. Now page checkpoint. You want to check whole page. Okay, that's called page checkpoint. Text checkpoint. Let's say you want to work on text. This text. No, that's called text checkpoint. The text area checkpoint. Let's say you want to area of this text. Okay, it's called area text area checkpoint. So bitmap checkpoint is similar to image checkpoint. And then you have database checkpoint. So if you're working on some database tools or Oracle database, then you can also do the database checkpoint. Okay, so let's move to the next topic very quick. Expressions. Okay, parameters. Let's work on these parameters. So why do we need these parameters? So parameter is very important. I think it's if you're working in regression team, parameterization should be like for you piece of cake, all right? Because this is what you'll be using every time. Okay, every time and most of the time or all of the time. Why is this very important? So let's figure it out. Why is this very important? Now, since you are doing the recording, right? Okay, even if you want to code it something, it's up to you. But recording, you record once. Okay. Now let's see. I want to record here 10. Say I'm recording all this. Okay. And I'm putting this information in all this. Use this. Okay. And I'm placing this. Oh, okay. And return to page. Now I've recorded one. Now there is not one customer who will be working, right? Now this is only me. I know I recorded only my my data, but there's like millions of data that has to run, right? Right? I mean, there's not one customer or two customers. There are thousands of customers that have to check that order is placed or not. Let's say one, buttons, nothing in these buttons, values, all this data is running properly or not. You want to test that. Okay, but you have recorded once. You know what you have to do. Now, what you want to do is you want to assign that variable. You want to assign that. Let's say, you have recorded this, right? So let's go back here. Now you have put this information, right? Remember, and then what you do is you want to remove this. You want to remove that value and put variable into that. Okay. Now, once you put a variable, that means you can do multiple work with that. Now, if you put that, let's say there's a lot of values here, right? Here, instead of taking here my name and put some variable, and you will tell QTP that look into this sheet. Okay, let's say here. Now, you are assigning some value here, okay, removing that and putting some variable and saying that look into the global sheet. Okay, let me magnify it. And here you will put in information here. Okay, you see this 1, 2, 3, 4. That means it has to run for London to Paris, Paris to London, Denver to Paris, and Paris to Denver. So this is how all the data you can put in global sheet and run the script. So what happens, right? When you run the script, now it will run many times, not just once. It runs, if it's 4 data, it will run 4 times. That's called iteration. 1 iteration, 2 iteration, 3 iterations, so on. So now this whole process is actually called parameterization. Does it make sense? The whole process of removing that value and putting that variable and assigning that variable in the global sheet and telling QTP that why don't you look into this global sheet instead of looking the variable and running that script. Okay. Any questions on parameterization? Now you can configure once you have this, you can go to menu bar and configure this parameter. Once you click on this, if it is constant, that means it's a value, right? It's a value. Parameter, you want to assign variable here, and you want to see where do you want to look, where do you want QTP to look at it? Data table, and what data table and what's the name of it and this from. Okay, great. And then click on this and click OK. Now this, whenever QTP runs that, it looks into the data table and see what's the value for that variable and runs that. Okay. Okay. So once it runs, you have this. Okay. Now once it's done, right? The results are generated. Okay. Results are generated and stored in specific location based on the framework, and you can view the results. Okay, you can also parameterize a checkpoint. So we just work on actions. Let's go to actions. So actions. Okay. So as I told you, right, action is, it's kind of worksheet. Okay, for ease of understanding, we'll take it as a worksheet. So there are 2 kinds of actions. It's a regular action that is non-reusable. Once you use it, it's done. That means you cannot use it anymore. And there's a reusable action. Okay, reusable actions, you need, let's say you want to create some library file. Okay, because there is a script and you want some function there and there is a loop going on. So you cannot write in each and every script. You want to make it reusable. That means you just create that action. Dump that into library file, and you can recall that function every time you want. That's the reason you need this reusable. Okay, and then again 2 types here used, like locally or externally. Locally in sense in your system, okay, and externally is like it's a network where a lot of people are working, so that's called external. Here it shows you can insert here. How to insert action? You can do it here, or you can insert from menu bar. Okay, you can either do that. So here you can copy an action, or you can create a new action. In the insert option, you see this insert menu bar. Click on that. You have this option. You can do multiple with an action. So this shows how to make it reusable for an action. Okay. Now let's go pretty quick here. Recovery scenarios. So why do we need these recovery scenarios? Let me give you an example here. Okay, let's say you're working on script, right? You're working on script and your script is running, and there is a server issue, and this pop-up window shows up suddenly from nowhere, and we know it's not from application. Application is good, server is slow, server is really not working properly, but that's a performance issue, not really a functional issue or not really a regression issue. This is a performance issue. Now we are aware of this, and they are working on it. It's a different story. But now QTP doesn't know that, right? QTP doesn't know. Now, what happens suddenly when the script is running? The pop-up window shows up from nowhere. Now QTP thinks it's a bug. Now this whole test case gets failed. Now this is a script that runs for 40, 50 hours, right? It's 50, 40 hours, and let's say the 39th, let's say there's a 39th hour and the script got failed. Now if you want to run, you have to run from scratch. Now you don't want to waste 40 hours of time, okay? Again, right? This makes no sense. You're wasting time. So that's the reason you need this recovery scenario. That means what you're trying to do here is, if the pop-up windows comes up, you're telling QTP to ignore that, right? Ignore it and move forward with the other script. We will work on that later. That's what you're trying to say in the recovery scenario. Okay, so there are three types. Trigger events, what example I have given was about trigger event, recovery option, recovery operation, and post-recovery run option. Okay. So here, says here is it's a trigger event, and we want as pop-up window. Let's say there's an issue, performance issue, and there's a pop-up, lot of pop-up showing on. You want to click on that, and you're telling QTP, okay, just ignore that pop-up window and move on with other scripts, and don't fail the script, because if the script gets failed at that point of time, then you need to rerun the whole script, 40-hour script again. So that's not a feasible work to do. Okay, so that's about recovery scenarios. Okay, so let's see here. I'm pretty quick here. We'll check. Now, we talked all about this recording option, right? Now, recording option is good only for static website. There's something called dynamic website. So what happens in this dynamic website is the objects keep on changing. Objects changing, this keeps the dynamic is always it's dynamic itself, right? It keeps on changing. Now your record and playback doesn't work. That doesn't help anymore. Okay, it will not help. Now there's something called descriptive programming. That means you need to write your own program, right? Write your own code. Okay, you need to write your own code. So let's see here how we can write a code. So there is, here let's see this code. Okay. Now this code is about saying like window. So whatever you're doing here, right? You are always entering property and the value in the code. Now let's see here. You also have seen right in the web page. And I told you. Remember? Let's see here. Remember in this. If you have seen here, there is also property and value here, right? So in this also we are also writing similar thing, okay? But this is designed by the QA point of view. Okay, so let's see here how this code is. So window, okay, how do we get this issue actually? Let's check it out real quick. Okay, so window, there is an error. That means let's see how this error window looks like. This means a window is like pop-up, right? Window is actually pop-up because the name of the pop-up is error. And win button, okay, let's not show up. So here, if you see this, okay, so click this. Okay, so this is the window. See this? This is a window. Okay, now what's the next thing? This is a window. So this is a window. And okay, let's go back here. What is this? It is the error. So okay, here you don't have. Otherwise, this has some error title, right? The title is not displayed here. So okay, we'll ignore for that. Now what you are looking at, win button. What is win button? So this is called win button. Okay, it's win button. Why you are saying win button? Because it's in Windows, so that's why it's called win button. Okay. Okay. Now what is the text? Text is okay. Okay, text is okay. And what you're doing with that dot click, that means you're clicking this. Okay, right? Now that's what this whole statement means, right? You have written the whole one window into one code. Okay, you have written one code. Let's go through this again. Okay. Okay. So if you get this, so this is a window. Okay. So this is a window. That's what it's showing here. And what is the name of the window? It's error. And what you are trying to look at it is win button. That means this button. And what is the text of this is okay. Okay, and width, okay, the width of the text, because here this is a property of an object. Okay, and this is a value. Okay, again, this is a property, this is a value, and what you're trying to do with that is dot click. Okay, so that's how you can start coding by yourself. Okay, and now this security is all about writing properties and values into the code, and you keep getting to know what is a pop-up, what is a window, okay, what is a drop down, all those you will be working on it. So, that's what, after that you can write your own code. Like if you want to say wait, you can use this wait command, all this you can start writing. So this is called descriptive programming, because here you are no more using the, object repository. Object repository help you to do that, right? All those objects are stored in a repository and you didn't do anything. But here, you already know what are the property and values and putting into the code and rerunning for yourself. That's called descriptive programming. You are no more dependent on object repository and objects, because you already know. How do you know? By object spy. You can get all this information by object spy and see this, and you can create your own code. Does it make sense? So that's a brief introduction on descriptive programming, but there's a lot more into the descriptive programming actually. You need to know a lot of functions. You need to know get arrow property, that is get runtime object, and get to property. Okay, so there's a lot of things into that. So if you want more information on this, you can go ahead and refer. When I've given syllabus, right, you can go ahead and refer URLs. Okay, here's the URL you can try, and there's a lot of tutorials here. You can see where if you want, if you're looking for more information on descriptive programming, or even there's for recording and playback. There's a lot of things. Okay, you can see here. There's like 40. Okay, so there's here. Okay, here. So here, there's like, yeah, when I was there, it was 40, now it was increased to 82. So you can, this tutorial, once you go to this tutorial, you will slowly know more and more information about this QT. Okay, so you can go ahead with this one if you're interested. Okay, so this is all about QTP. Any questions? Okay, so again, the people who have missed, right, let me show you normally how, so you've already seen, right? See here. So, okay, I'm using an open source. This is not QTP. This is again, I'm just showing you again what I've shown you pretty quick. So this is how you can generate the code and run the code. Okay, either you can write if you're good at this is all written in Java. Okay, it's not really written. I've again recorded in playback. So this is all the code, and you just run this code here, and boom, it will do whole work for you. Not just saying like it's it's trying to open the browser and it's entered the URL. So I'm not doing anything, right? It's rerunning by itself and it just closes by itself. You see this, my mouse cursor, I'm not doing anything. The mouse is there itself. Okay. And once the whole code is running, this is how you test an automation script. And it's done and it's closed. That's it. And this result is passed and it's showing here. So this is how you also will be doing with the QTP2. Okay. 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 So if no one have any questions, can we close this class for today? Sure. Yeah, somebody asked, right? You want to know some more about Agile? Yeah, send me an email, okay? We can set up some time today. Yeah, today I think I'm free, no meetings today. Yeah, so we can work on that, okay? And if you are interested, we can set up today, tomorrow, okay? And if you want to know more about Agile, we can. I call you or you can call me, either way it works. But if I'm not available when you call, make sure you send an email so that I'll respond to that and you can go ahead with it. Okay. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you guys.